Hey, it's Saturday again, and so that means it's time for another story from my lighting design career. Let's take a look in the book and see what we have today. Chicka, 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 chicka. Ooh, that is perfect. Today, let's tell the story of School of Rock. Wow. I haven't had a lot of opportunities to work in film yet in my career, but there are opportunities where I get to participate in some of these stories that have been told through movies. And in this case, that's because of musical theater. So I have done a ton of musical theater, a ton of musicals and plays, theater in general, dance, like really anything that's on a stage. I have done a lot of those shows, partly because it was how I made my living at the start of my career, and partly because I love doing it. It's just incredible to put together an awesome piece of work in a collaborative way with a bunch of other artists on the stage. So a few years back, I got this incredible opportunity to design the lighting for School of Rock, the musical. It was the very first opportunity I got to do real rock and roll lighting. What is rock and roll lighting? Do you know what rock and roll lighting is? If you have an idea of it, put it in the comments right now before I go into this discussion, just to see what you think of before we talk about it. Because rock and roll lighting has meant a lot of different things over the years. The reason we have big arena shows today is because of these rock bands. They pushed the limits. They pushed the edges of possibility of performance, and they asked people to make new things for them. They spent a lot of time developing lighting and developing audio and developing projectors. All these things that we see in shows today were made because some person that was a part of a rock and roll group or a part of the designers that were supporting them asked a question: how can we make this bigger? In the course of researching what is rock and roll lighting, I discovered that rock and roll lighting is really just embracing extremes, embracing energy, and embracing something new. It was honestly like the most fun I have ever had researching any project ever, because I just watched a ton of old rock and roll concerts. There was this one from 1977 with Black Sabbath. They had 400 or 500 of these par cans all wired up together. And then there was a guy in the back who was just pressing buttons to make all those different groups of 4 lights light up to the music. It was that simple. But in 1977, having all these artificial lights, having them go and pulse along with the music was mind-boggling. It was so cool to see how the lights integrated with the music that people didn't care that they weren't moving because they didn't even know that they could move yet. So I took what I learned and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do exactly what I saw in all these old rock shows. I'm going to take the ethos. I'm going to take the process of what these designers did at the time with the tools they had, and I'm going to apply the same process to the tools I have now. I got super lucky with this production because the theater had just purchased a brand new light board. It was the brand new ETC board that had just come out that year. I believe it was the ETC EOS XE, but I'm going to put a picture over my face and I'll show you what the actual title of it was. But it's an awesome light board. It's modeled a lot after the Grand MA3, and that means it's got all these encoders, which are these little dials, and the dials make it so much faster to program moving lights. There are all kinds of different parameters and things that you need to select between, like colors and gobos and framing and all these other different, options that you can choose. And a dial is so much faster than typing in numbers for a lot of these things. I had already worked at the theater in the past, and so I already knew the people that worked there. I had already made relationships with them, and so they were ready to support me. And I put together my plot and I told the master electrician where I wanted all the lights to go. The scenic designer even gave me some awesome lights within the set. Thank you, Matthew. You are awesome. And it was awesome. I spent 3 weeks programming behind that light board and doing absolutely nothing else. It took me such a long time to program that show. I spent hours and hours and hours and hours. I did nothing those 3 weeks except for eat, sleep, and program. And so it's no surprise that this was the best show that I had ever done. Last week, I talked about collaboration in the short video that I posted about how to be a good collaborator. And this production of School of Rock was full of good collaborators. There were incredible people on the stage. There were incredible people in the design team. And there were incredible musicians who were supporting all of the performers on stage. Between the pit, the cast, and the design team, there were a lot of people putting incredible work onto the stage. And so it felt so easy to put all of my effort into this show when I knew that I could trust all the other people who were working on it. I used all these color combinations that I've been thinking about and dreaming about. The cyan, magenta, yellow look for the finale looked so good on stage. There's just something about cyan, magenta, yellow that looks good with LEDs. I don't know exactly why, but that combination of colors just punches a lot harder than it used to with incandescence. And so I just found all kinds of opportunities to try all these things that I had been thinking about. I am always researching and I am always looking around me. I'm looking for cool moments and great sunsets and cool colors that I've never really thought about before. And so I just put all that in the show. Every single scene was a different set of colors and a different scenario, a different idea, a different interpretation. We were in the schoolhouse, but then they sing "Stick It to the Man," which is all about saying, I got the power. I took that opportunity and I literally made a machine on stage. I turned the lights into gears and I had them shifting and moving and rotating all along the stage in this set of different ratios that it looked like a machine that was traveling, energy through it. And it was this like, everything was red. It was all like the gear parts were like white. It looked so good and it supported that song and that storytelling just perfectly. In the show, there's this moment where the kids go and perform at this Battle of the Bands, right? It's the finale. It's the end of the show. So then I had to create a look for the stage that looks like we're on another stage inside of the stage. So that was super fun and super interesting. And by the end, I just pulled out all the stops. I was flashing lights everywhere. I put all these gobos up on the walls and the ceilings for the finale when all the audience was getting up and clapping and being on their feet and everything. And it felt so good to do such great work for such great people. I love everybody that's a part of that show, and it has been so meaningful to get great feedback from both audience members and cast members over the years since, that my work was really meaningful to them. And that's why I do it. But the part that meant the absolute most to me was I had come back to see the finale because the show meant so much to me, and I wanted to see those last moments with this group of people on that stage telling this story. Right after the final curtain fell, the main character, who was a young boy named Chris, he came up to me and he said, "Alex, your lights look so incredible, man. Thank you so much for what you did." And man, that meant so much to me, to be able to inspire people, to be able to tell stories, to be able to participate together in the human experience. That's what making art and telling stories on stage is all about. The next time you have some spare time on a weekend and you don't really know what to do, I advise you find a piece of musical theater to go see. And if you ever happen to see a production of School of Rock, make your way to the theater. Musicals are emotional experiences. Musicals tell emotional stories, and we as human beings are emotional. To see ourselves and how we feel represented on the stage in front of us is a powerful moment. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.